demo to create an automated workflow where we use a custom AI model to extract details from an invoice. Once extracted, based on a condition, which is the amount due or total amount, we will send approval emails either to the HR department or to the management or to the finance department. We will ensure that there is also a comment passed during the approval. If not, we send them follow-up mails to ensure that they give a comment. Once approved or rejected, assuming it's approved, we add the invoice details to an Excel sheet. Otherwise, we don't. Now, to start, we need to have an invoice. For that, go to word.com and select a template for invoices. I will be going with this one. Over here, you can see that the invoice has multiple fields. Feel free to create about 5 invoices to train your custom AI model and 2 more to test it out. You can add different quantities, change the amount due, change the seller, anything that's convenient for you. After that, before you exit, export this as a PDF since it will help train the AI model better. Now, if you go to Power Automate now, over here on the left section, you can see AI Hub. Click on AI Hub, wait for it to load. Over here, you will get options to choose your model. Over here, you can click on AI models. Now, since we want to make a custom model, we will go to extract custom models from document. Over here, it tells you these are the kind of fields you can extract from. If it's a delivery order from a picture, you can extract all of these things, and this is the format you will get it in. Now let's proceed. Hit create custom model, and it will initialize all the environment for you. Once it is set up, you get an option of these 3 templates: fixed document, general documents, and invoices. Since we are going with invoices, we'll click on invoices. Now here it shows you the type of documents you can extract data from. If the invoice is like a picture like this, or a picture like this with scratches as well, or if it's a digital invoice. Now, we will have to add all the fields we want to extract from our invoice. Over here, some fields are already given like amount due, invoice total, subtotal. But if there's something extra in our field that we want to extract, we will have to add it here. For example, you can see that there is a special comments or special instructions that does not exist over here. So we will go back to our um, AI model, click on add. Now we are adding a text field since the comment or special instructions has text written on it. We'll click on next. We will name it and it's done. Similarly, if your invoice has multiple fields that are not present in this already, you can add those. Now you can click on next. To also add a table which is not present in any of these, you can click on add, click on table and hit next. In this, you will have to add the columns you want it to be there. Now, if you go to this document, you can see there's salesperson, PO, requisitioner, shipped via, FOB point, and terms. So let us add that table. In case you want to move the order of the column, we can also drag and drop and it will arrange it for you based on the table. Now you can hit done and click on next. Now over here, you need to add the documents that you created, the 5 invoices that you created. They need to be different so that the AI model gets a better range to train on. Now you need to add a minimum of 5 documents or a maximum of 500 pages. Now let us add the document. I've created 5 different invoices and I will upload them. Now click on next. Now in this tag document section, you will have to go through manually every single document and select where each field belongs. The fields that were mentioned in our previous tag where it said shift to and the custom field we created for the custom table that's not present, you will have to mark all of them. Now it automatically does mark for you. Like over here it says this is the vendor receipt, or here it says this is the billing address client. Some of these fields are marked. Now what about the fields that are not marked? Like for example, over here if you see comment and special instructions. This is our comment and special instructions. We will select this entire box and now we have to mark it. This is as comment fields and instructions. Now for the entire table. Now if we click on the entire table, since this is the table one we created in our previous tags, it will have some overlapping elements. Now you can either choose to remove these by just clicking on this button, that pop-up that comes here where you're unselecting it. In that case, after that, all you'll have to do is select this table. Since our custom tags are visible, this is table 1. You will hit on table 1. Now, the first step is to add a row. You can also see the instructions on the right where it tells you to left click inside a row to add a row. Now, since our first row is over here, we will left click. Next, to add columns, you will hit on control and add columns like this, exactly like the ones mentioned in your table. Now, you'll have to assign these things, which one is where. Since a first person salesperson, second is PO number, 1 second, PO number, third one is rec questioner, what is shipped via, FOB point, counts. Now, there are more fields that we have to add. The fields that are present in white over here, payment terms and recent orders, are the things we will still have to add. Now, since payment terms are present but they're already included in this table and we don't want them, we can choose to hit not available in collection. Similarly, for purchase order, we have it, but it is only a number and we don't want it in nothing, so we can remove it not available in collection. Now, it's in the same table one. Since when you click on edit table, you will see that it is taking one row as all the names of the column and the other row as the actual column. To stop that, we need to hit on turn off for the ignore first row section column toggle. After you close it, you will see that all your fields are marked. Another way to check it is to randomly select any element, and over here it should say no item tag is present, no item tag is missing. Once you're done with that, you will see a tick appear on this document. Similarly, you have to do it for all 5 documents. After this, once you click on model summary, it will allow you to review all your documents and train your model. Click on train your model and you can exit this section of the AI model. Once you click on train in your model deployment section, it will take you back to the AI brain page. Over here, since these are just draft statuses, it won't show you anything, but once you hit train, you will see last trained or training in this. Over here, you can also see the status published. So once the model is trained, you'll have to click on the model and you can check its accuracy. At what accuracy is it right now? In your case, you will see a publish button instead of use model button. Click on publish. Once you publish the model, you will now be able to see it in your Power Apps Automate workflow or your Power Apps as well. Our AI is getting trained. We will have to create the Excel sheet where we will be storing all the invoice details. Now go to excel.com and you can start by creating a new workbook. In the workbook, you will have to add two tables. In our case, since there are line elements and there are header elements, I have created two tables, one for header and one for line. Now in each column, you need to fill the exact uh, feature we are extracting from the invoice. For example, if you can see in the table 2 over here, table 2 is quantity, description, unit price, and total. Now in our Xbook, we have done invoice ID, quantity, description, unit price, and total. And our header file, we have updated everything apart from the ones we added in a line. We have the vendor address, vendor receipt. This is where all the data will be stored after it has been extracted and approved by the um, HR, finance, or management department. Going to your workflow. This workflow will basically work when you upload a file in your SharePoint site. That file will automatically trigger this workflow. Now, ensure that you have a SharePoint site created with a folder you want to keep changing. For example, my SharePoint site is the communication site in which I have created a new folder called invoice. In this invoice, I will drop all my invoices and it will process them and the flow will continue. Now, over here, to set the trigger to our SharePoint file, click on the yes, look for when a file is created in a folder block. And now here are the parameters you will have to set. Choose your communication site and choose the folder where you will dynamically upload your invoices. After that, look for the extract information from form sections under AI. Over there, you will be able to select the AI model you just trained and the headers you will take from the file, and your form will be your body because you are taking the body from the text that the file is reading. Once this file is processed by extract information, you can create two variables if you want to. One will be for email and one will be for the department. Look for the initialize variable block. If you click on this, you will see initialize variable block. Click on it and you can name your uh, variable as email, and your type of that could be an array since you would like to have multiple emails stored in this variable. Similarly, for department variable, you can just leave it as a string because this is something that you will dynamically allocate during the next condition. Now, this will extract multiple fields from the form. All the fields that we tagged in our AI model, it will extract all of that. Now, the condition given is to check if the amount, in this case, I will be checking the subtotal. If the subtotal is less than 1000, we need the approval email to go to the HR team. If the subtotal is between 1000 and 2500, we need the approval email to go to the finance team. And if it's greater than 2500, we need the approval email to go to the management. Now, we will put a condition block, and in this condition, we will check. Click on dynamic content and search for uh, subtotal. Always remember when you're trying to extract the value, what the field actually has, always select value. Once you click on subtotal value, choose is less than or equal to, and the value in this case is 1000. Now, if this is true, you need to set the department variable that we created on top to HR. invoice. Now, this is false. We will have another condition to check if we want to send the email to finance department or management. Now, in this condition, we check if the same subtotal selected from the dynamic content, that if we hover over it, we will see the dynamic content. If that is greater than 1000 and less than 2500, it evaluates to true and we select our department select variable to finance invoice. Similarly, if it's false, that means it's greater than 2500, we select our variable to management invoice. After which, we use a do while loop, a do loop. Now, the whole purpose of using a do loop is to ensure that we get a comment every time we send an approval email. Now, drag a do until loop from your components and place it here. Inside the do loop, we will use the start and wait for approval block to ensure that we send our approval when we're in the loop. And after sending an approval, we will also set a variable to please approve or reject with comment, which I will explain why in a minute. Now, the condition we will use for do until is to ensure that we keep running it until we get the comment in the approval. Now, in the loop until I went for this expression, you can also go with the dynamic drop down where you can choose the dynamic content. I am choosing the expressions. Now, in this, we are checking since the body of since the comments in the body of the start and wait approval block are not empty, we will keep running this loop. Another parameter that we have to select in the loop is count. In this, you can you have to update the maximum number of times you want this loop to run. For our demo purpose, we've only chosen 2. Now, my logic to keep setting the variable and instead of having to send a new email using a new start and wait approval, we are looping it. So now let's say that this approves it and we do not get a variable. In the sense, let's say the person has not given a comment but has approved it or rejected it. In that case, since the do while condition will be true, it will keep running it and it will select the send. It will select the depth select variable, the one we were changing for HR for management. It will change that to please approve and reject with comment. And it will send them another approval email with this as the subject. And it will do that until they accept or reject with the comment or the do while loop stops. So in our case, we've given 2, right? So now assuming they give a comment, this we will step out of the do while loop and we will create a new condition to evaluate what they've given. Now in this case, we will select the outcome from the start and approval block and you will check if it is equal to approve or reject. Now if it is approved, first we will list all the rows present in the table. Now why are we doing this? This is to ensure that there are no repetitions. Now when we click or when we select the list rows present in all our tables, we will get all the rows that are present in the table. Now over here, we will select the location to be OneDrive because that is where our Excel is currently present. Yes, the parameters in this will be location where we select OneDrive for business. The document library is OneDrive and you can select the book.xls file, that is the name for Excel. You can select that in the file and we can select the table we want. As you saw, there were 2 tables. There's one headers table and there's one line table. So the headers table is our table 2, which is what we will be updating first. In the drop down, you can select table 2. Now, the whole point of the list rows was to check if there are no duplicate entries. Now, to check that, we will have to add a filter query. This is an OO data filter query in which we are checking if the current invoice ID are equal to the invoice ID value given to us in the AI extracted text. Now, if this is equal, that means there is um, this list rows present in a table after this query filter will give us the length of the response. So now in this case, if the length given by this filter is greater than 1, that means that this is 1. That means that this specific invoice ID is already present in our database and we don't have to update it or reject it at all. Now, if the length given by this filter is 0, that means that it does not exist and it's unique. In that case, we can proceed to add it. Now, to add it, we check this condition. We check if the length of the previous input, which is the list rows in a table value, is 0. We proceed to add the row. Otherwise, we choose to do nothing. Now, once the length is 0, it goes into the true part and we have to update each table. Now, since we will be in the for each, we will be reiterating over the block we get from table response itself. And now for each row into a table, now in the for each block, we will choose the table that we are iterating on. Click on dynamic content. Over here you see table 1 body response, table 1 body response. Over here, the full form is entries or columns. Since we need the entries that are filled in it, we will click on this entries. And now this inside the for each one block, we will add a add row into table block because we need to add it once the condition is true. In this case, we set it up in a similar manner. We look for the add a row into a table block. We select OneDrive for business, document library is OneDrive, and which file are we adding this? The book.xls, and we're adding this into table 2. Now at the bottom, you will have to click on show all advanced parameters. Over here, uh, at the bottom, you can see that it says advanced parameters. In each advanced parameter, you will have to add whatever data has been extracted from the AI model over here. Over here, if you click on comments and special instructions, you can choose dynamic content and you will have to, over here, start and wait approval. You'll have to search for all of this. In our case, we can just write comments and it will give you comment or special instruction value text. Always choose value if you want the value that is being sent to you in the invoice. So choose value. Such that you will have to fill out all these fields, the subtotal, shipping address, everything that has been extracted from your AI model and has been added into your Excel sheet. You'll have to fill it. Once filled, we will do the exact same thing for table 2. Here we add another for each block. We iterate over the response and we add another row into the table 3 this time. We choose OneDrive for business, OneDrive as a document library. Our file is books.xls and we are choosing the table number 3 that you can adjust from the dropdown. In this case also you will be filling all the details, the invoice ID, quantity, description. Again, all of this is being extracted from your from your AI model. So this completes the flow that we have defined. In each case, there is also a false condition which leads to nothing for demo purposes. Now, let's test this out. If you go the back, please save your work before going back or closing this page. That way your flow is updated. Now, I will go to our SharePoint, click on New, and click on Upload. Apologies. Look for the file we want to update. In this case, I made one test 1 and test 2. I will click on test 1 and open. Now, the flow may take a few seconds to start. As you can see, it says the flow is running. Like if you click on the flow, you can check what the flow is, which state the flow is at, and what it is processing. Under this flow, it should have sent an email to me, which I will receive soon. Now, that email will be divided based on the condition that is met. In this case, if you see, you can check that since the bill invoice was greater than 2500, it has selected the variable and set it to depth select. It set the variable to management, which we will see in a minute. Okay. So now to check where this approval action mail will come to you, go on to the Outlook of the email address you gave into the department variable. Now, if you go to the Outlook, you will get a mail. In this, it says management invoice, power approval, and you will get the link to directly view the invoice folder, or you will also get the invoice PDF. Now, we can choose to view the invoice PDF right over here itself, where if you see it sees test item 1, test item 2, subtotals 2600, total dues 2800. Okay. Now let's say I want to approve the mail and I hit submit. Now notice I did not give any comment to this. The entire process is a little slow because of maybe my internet. But now if you see that this wasn't, I gave it uh, no no comment. Now it will still be on the do while loop. And soon you should get another email telling you that okay, you haven't, please update or approve with a comment. Now that a mail has arrived, you can see it has come with a new subject saying please approve or reject with comment. Now over here, I will choose to approve it and type approve. This is a comment and hit submit. Now, if you were to go back to the workflow, you will see that it will complete the do until loop. It will go to the condition. And while it is in the condition, it will execute the add row call. In the Excel, you can see that we've created these rows, right? Nothing has appeared just yet. There's an error. In this case, you can just choose to submit again and the error should go away. As you can see, the request is now approved for the please approve reject with comment. Now, if you go back to the workflow will complete as soon as it receives the request and the Excel sheet has been filled. If you can see, it just got filled with the dynamic content of our um, entire workflow. Invoice details, both line and the header sheets have been filled. Now, this was one action. Now you can choose to send the other mail with the same. You can choose to upload another invoice in the SharePoint site, and it will continue with the same action. Now, if you notice in the previous mails that we got, this was a management invoice because the bill amount, as we saw, was 2,600. It was greater than 2,500. That's why we got the management input. Now, based on this Excel sheet that was created, we can now create a Power BI dashboard. Now, to visualize the data, we will now use Power BI. We start by creating a new workspace and then we start by connecting a new data source. In this case, since we're using Excel in OneDrive, we'll go to OneDrive, browse our OneDrive and look for the book.xls. That is the name of our Excel file. It will automatically create your credentials for connection and you can hit next. After which you will see that there are four columns. In this case, table 2 and table 3 are the names of our table and header and line are the names of the sheets. For this demo, we will go with table 2 and table 3 and we hit create. Now this will set up your Power BI dashboard and it will give you a white screen to experiment with. Since I've already created one with a lot of sample graphs, we will go to that test dashboard based on the same Excel sheet. Okay, you can see right now no data is visible because we have to refresh our our Excel source. But you can see over here I've added graphs, I've added X and Y axis for each of them, blank cards, blank gauge graphs. Even in page one, there's line area graphs. Now to refresh, go to My Workspace, hover over your source, in this case it's book, and you'll see a small refresh option, small circle, click on refresh. Now, this will refresh and fetch new data from your updated Excel sheet. Now you can go back to your test dashboard and refresh here as well. And you can see the data is now visible. You can do that for multiple different rows and you will see profit graphs. So this was a demo from Power Automate to visualization. Thank you.